The Zulu War of 1879, a bloody conflict that saw the British Redcoats beaten at Isandlwana and then bounce back to crush the Zulu impis at the battles of Kambula, Gungundlovu and Ulundi. It's a war that still remains fresh in popular memory, mainly thanks to those excellent films Zulu and Zulu Dawn. Well, if you're interested in the war, and I'm guessing you must be because you're watching and listening to this, you'll be excited to know that the biggest ever Zulu War exhibition is taking place in London at the Royal Philatelic Society in July. It's the Clash of Empires Exhibition, and there's going to be hundreds of artifacts on display and a broad range of experts and speakers on all sorts of topics about the war. I'm even going to be there myself. I'm going to be speaking to all of those experts. I'm going to be finding out more. I'm going to be learning about some of the exhibit items, especially the weapons. And if all of that sounds like your cup of tea, then be sure to order your tickets via clashofempires.org. On a different note, just quickly for regular listeners and viewers of this show, you may realise my Indian Mutiny series will have to be paused for a few weeks while I do all of this content about the Anglo-Zulu War. Don't worry though, I've already edited the episodes about Cawnpore and the Siege of Delhi, so they will be back. They're going to run in August. Anyway, back to today's episode, and to find out more about the Clash of Empires exhibition, I'm joined today by Alex Haimann, who's co-curator.
The exhibition is a now over 8-year-long effort to have the first major and largest artifact-driven exhibition focused on not only the Anglo-Zulu War, but the context and history that leads us up to the conflict itself, and then spends quite a big part of the exhibition focused on, well, what happens after? So the purpose of the exhibition is to, through over 500 historical artifacts, to let the artifacts drive a narrative to give greater context to the viewer, the attendee, on what's going on, what did this stuff look like, how were these objects used by the participants, both British and colonial and Zulu, to lead us to this dramatic point in history, and then why do we think about it today? I mean, so the exhibition basically has early 19th century focus on Shaka and objects of that early Zulu kingdom period, all the way to the 140th anniversary in 2019. And it's going to be packed, artifact driven, in a way that allows you as the viewer to sort of almost pick what objects you focus on. Otherwise you could be in, which maybe hopefully many of you will, but you could be there for many hours to sort of go through everything. But it's sort of what draws you in for whatever reason, and that's kind of the whole goal. And I've been a collector of this now for over 25 years. And for me, that's what got me excited. And part of the exhibitions is trying to, in a way, mimic that collecting element, which is seeing lots of things, and there's too much to focus on every single object with equal attention, but rather to sort of zero in on what attracts you. So maybe the Zulu artifacts will be what really draws a particular visitor, viewer's attention. Maybe it'll be, the 24th foot and finding all the 24th foot related items, or it's going to be some, beadwork, things you would never even imagine would be at something like this. That's kind of the objective, is to think about it in that way.
So for people who are considering coming, could you give us a sense of maybe 2 or 3 items that you yourself find interesting? Tell us a little bit about them.
The smallest object in the exhibition is a postage stamp. The largest object in the exhibition is a large size 1879 period regimental Zulu shield. So, and everything in between. That's the exhibition range of objects is vast. A few items of interest, of course, are because it has to focus on it. Is we have 2 scripts from the filming of the movie Zulu. So
original production scripts.
Yes, one used by Joe Powell, who plays Sergeant Windridge, the one with the muscles, and then another one attributed to one of the filming scripts for Cy Enfield, the director. If the movie is one of the reasons why you potential viewer or attendee of the exhibition are interested, it's such an important part of the context of our understanding of the war today. So that's a real other film objects, of course, but the scripts are one category. Going back in time, so starting much more in the 20th century, I would have to say that we have, for thinking about Zulu artifacts, we have several objects related to different Zulu kings. So, Cachueo was the sort of critical, pivotal figure of the war itself. But there, of course, are many kings after. So we have different objects related, including letters written by subsequent Zulu kings. Within the war itself, I would say that I'll give you one Zulu and one British object. There are a dozen 1879 period regimental war shields that are, 3.5-ish feet to 5 feet tall. They are impressive to behold in person, and they will be there, probably the largest showing or gathering of 1879 period shields in an exhibition like this to the public. So that just having a sense of what these things look like in person, though I've got one, behind me right here, this doesn't do it in the Zoom background. And the context of understanding, even just seeing a dozen of them in one room, maybe can give someone a Milla idea of what it would have been like to have had thousands of those shields being held and processing at you at great speed and fervor by a Zulu army. So that's another element, of course, is trying to understand the Zulu perspective. And it's difficult because they didn't have a written language at the time. And so their artifacts, more than ever, are how we can sort of get an essence of that moment in their history. On the British side, we have many things. So the one object that probably gives me the chills more than any other is we have a housewife piece of British kit that was given to Private Beckett at the start of his training in Brecon when he joined the 24th, and was used by him for 5 years during that training in the UK. And then when he came to South Africa in 1877, and it's what you use, what a regular soldier uses to keep their utensils and shaving or for eating, whatever it may be. And you basically, it's a canvas piece that you'll be showing nearby. And there's a little strap in the middle of it that sort of allows you to hold things in place. Then you roll it up and you tie it and throw it in your pack. Private William Beckett was one of the defenders in the hospital during the attack on Rorke's from the Zulu perspective, during the defense of Rorke's from the British perspective, over the 22nd to 23rd, 1879, January. And he was stabbed during the assault into the hospital by the Zulus, and basically kind of wandered out into sort of the darkness and hid. And hid in the brush, and in the morning was found by his fellow soldiers, but bled out and died. So one of the few defenders of Rorke's to be killed in the battle. The housewife piece of kit itself was sent back with his personal effects to his family. The family was awarded, or on behalf of their deceased relative, his posthumous campaign medal, and they kept the medal with or in that housewife until 1999, when it was sold by his descendants thereof, so 120 years later. And I'm very fortunate that it was split by the owner that bought the medal and wanted to keep the medal, and didn't see as much of a need to keep the housewife kit. It is one of the very few, regardless of how many people will tell you they have a Rorke's knob carry, Rorke's spear. It's very, very difficult to find actually attributable artifacts that were physically present during that particular battle over those hours. And this absolutely was there with his kit, and was used by him the morning before the battle begins, and wasn't able to be used by him by the next morning.
Okay, guys, I've got some breaking news. I've just got to interject quickly. Alex Haimann has just emailed me to say that there will be a prize draw at the event. All tickets are free for attendees, and if you win it, you get a 4-night, 5-day stay at Isandlwana Lodge. That includes accommodation, meals, guided tours of Isandlwana, Rorke's Drift, Blood River, the Prince Imperial Heritage Site, Mangeni Falls, the cultural tour of Isandlwana Village. It sounds absolutely amazing, and Isandlwana Lodge, for those who don't know, is a stunning place. All right, guys, so get your tickets, be in the draw for that. Anyway, back to today's show. So as well as this amazing display of objects that people can look at, I believe you've also got a lot of authors, historians, specialists coming through to give talks. Can you give a sense of who's coming and when people can see them?
Sure, of course. So when the exhibition concept was coming together, we realized that we had a massive, major opportunity to not only draw folks in with deep specialist interests, but also the general public into an exhibition like this. Well, it's sort of, if you build it, they will come, hopefully. But at the same time, we said, well, let's sort of goose it a little bit and create a period of days where we can where we would invite, and hopefully, and we have drawn in now over 30 different presenters to speak. It's July 12 to 15, Wednesday to Saturday, right in the middle of the exhibition. The exhibition is July 1 to 31, every day except Sunday. So those 4 days, we have speakers coming from Australia, South Africa, the United States, and all over the UK. From a museum curator in Australia coming to speak on the famous Neville painting of the Defensive Rorke's Drift, to speakers from the United States coming to speak on a wide variety of subjects. We have Professor John Laband coming from South Africa, who's written a great series of books focused on the Zulu kingdom, the Zulu royal family, and he has one coming out during that month, coincidentally, and very, very useful for having it all happen around the exhibition, a new biography of Lord Chelmsford. Laband's book will be joined by 5 other books that will be launched at the exhibition, or be celebrating their launch at the exhibition. So we have, it's really a huge range. I direct you to www.clashofempires.org/symposium. And that will take you just to a page, and then there will be information about all the speakers. And it's 15 pounds a day, so which includes a simple, easy lunch. So it's really about just, if you sign up to come, that we're trying to have you have a little skin in the game, so you will actually come. We have a limited number of seats, about 100 people per day.
Zulu.
On the Saturday, we'll be doing a screening of the film Zulu, and have a panel discussion with several experts on the film before, and a discussion afterwards. So really a way to dive into if the film is really what drives your initial interest or continued interest in the subject. Saturday will be a great day. Looking at British uniform kit, we've got Zulu presenters speaking about the Zulu perspective. One is coming from South Africa, who wrote a book about the effect on women and children and civilians in the war's aftermath. So we have all different types of perspectives and considerations being discussed, and it will be. No one can think of a recent example of this many different presenters coming to speak on such a wide range about the war and its context in recent memory.
So would it be fair to say this is probably the biggest, or one of the biggest and most important sort of gatherings of experts and specialists on the war, at least in recent memory?
Absolutely, undoubtedly. The real key to it, especially, they're all in person. We're not Zooming 7 people in, and for us, it was important because if you're able to come, we wanted everyone to be accessible. The idea was that, in the same way that it's an artifact-driven exhibition, it's about them being physically there. There's no photocopies or artificially created anything that's in the exhibition cases. That the people also make history. I mean, history is about us, all of us as people, and what has happened. So having everyone be physically there was very important, at least for me and for my co-curator Ian Knight, because we really wanted, in the same way we wanted you to come to physically see the artifacts versus just seeing a video of us showing you the artifacts, that meeting the people, being able to have real conversations in person was a big part of that. So yes, having multiple South Africans, Australians, Americans, Zulu, British, colonial perspectives all being shared in person. And also the books. I mean, my wife is astounded at some of this, because she can't believe that there are 6 books coming out this year related to the Zulu War in some way. And I had to explain that these are just 6 of many, more than 6 books that what will come out in 2023 alone about the Anglo-Zulu War. And so, again, even having new perspectives being shared in a published form, but having the authors physically there, again, is all about sort of how do we connect with this history in different ways.
So what do you think, guys? Am I going to see some of you there? I really hope so. I'll be there from the 12th to the 15th. Please do come up to me. I'm going to bring some t-shirts along with the Red Coat History logo on. So the first 5 or so people who come over to me and introduce themselves, I'll be sure to give you a t-shirt. Cheers, guys, and I'll see you soon.